I'm an outsider, as you know, and I don't get offered the best. I don't know whether you know, but I refused Kabil first when it was offered to me. And then he used some Hindi bad language, which I can't repeat. He said, "Tu actor kyun bana?" In Kabil, I was playing the main villain. It was not a starring role. It was a supporting role, but people loved what I did. My craft has improved. My screen time has not, unfortunately. Always been from the beginning of my career. I do not want to play a character which is just there in the film. Important ये होता है कि आप जो भी किरदार कर रहे हैं, that has to be important to the story. That's all. There's no other yardstick.
Hello and welcome to Midday.com. I'm Anjali Singh, and with me today I have this talented and charming actor who is very well known for his commendable work in television shows and films. I'm talking about Rohit Roy. Rohit, welcome to Midday.com.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be speaking with you.
Great, Rohit. The show Lockdown Rishtey. When I saw the trailer, it looks very interesting to me, especially because now we can so easily connect to it, right? Tell me, what exactly are we going to expect, or should we expect from this show?
Well, like you rightfully said, everybody will identify with being in the lockdown for the last 6, 7, 8 months now. These are human interest stories. There are love stories, stories about relatives, stories about friends, and everything that we actually went through during the lockdown. But, for me, the takeaway is that these are all bright, positive stories with nice, happy endings. Some might not, but you will identify with at least one character amongst these 5 stories. If I can talk about my story, it's about a husband and a wife who are going through the usual set of problems. I mean, every marriage, every relationship goes through trials and tribulations. But how, because of the lockdown, they kind of come out of it with flying colors. That's not something that you expect, because you've heard so much in the media and so much from our friends that how stressful this time has been. So I think about time we put out stories of hope, of positivity, of feel-good factors. And I think that's what Lockdown Rishtey is all about.
It has been, as per my knowledge, I think it has been shot and conceptualized during the lockdown when it was on. How did it happen to you? What really got you enrolled into this when people were sitting at home and thinking what to do? How did this happen to you?
Well, I guess I'm just lucky. I'm one of the lucky actors who've actually worked through the lockdown. And for me, this was like what should I say? Everybody was so frustrated, especially midway through the lockdown, because there was a sense of insecurity. We didn't know what the future held in store for us. Actors can't do anything. We cannot work from home. And then this show came about, which allowed me to work from home, which allowed the other actors. I've always said that creativity is something that doesn't stop. You might be alone, you might be in solitude, but you can never stop creativity from flowing. And when Abhijit, the director, came up with this idea and contacted me, I said yes without even listening to the script. I just wanted to get some work, because you never know when we're going to get back to the set. Even now, if you see after the lockdown, things are not as easy as we thought it would be. So yes, it gave me an opportunity to get back to work immediately. And why I call myself a lucky actor is because I ended up shooting 5 short films with my wife at home, which is also now on a major OTT platform. That's called Locked in Love. Locked in Love. And those are also. So yes, I'm just consider myself very lucky that I got the opportunity to keep working.
Since it was shot during the lockdown, and I'm sure there must have been a lot of constraints work-wise also. Tell us a little bit of about the experience, how different, how new, or how difficult it had been working on this.
Well, I will agree with you that there are several constraints. My biggest constraint as an actor was that my co-actor wasn't in front of me. And this is something we've never done. Gurdeep was in her house being shot by her husband. I was in my house being shot by my wife. What was good for both of us is that our spouses are also actors and actors of some repute. So for me to have Mansi was a bonus because she was shooting me, also giving me the cues. So that was one challenge, of course. The other challenge was that we were shooting and functioning in a running household. So we couldn't tell people to stop while we were shooting, etc. The third challenge was lighting because we didn't have any cameras and lights. We were shooting on iPhones, and we had to shoot the visible light. And in my house, available light is best between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. Then another challenge came up. My daughter's final exams were going on, so we had to shoot according to her. So these are the few challenges we shaped, but I'm faced. But I must say, these challenges shaped the way the show is looking now. I've always maintained that these challenges is not something that the audience cares about. The audience cares about what they see on screen, and I think eventually all of us put together managed to put out a good show, which I think people will enjoy. It will resonate with them, the stories, and the challenges will be forgotten. I think this made us better actors.
Other than that, on a
Right.
personal front, uh, coping up with the lockdown, or not coping, but spending the lockdown in a way that would not let your mental health get affected or physical health get affected. What was your, what was your approach towards it, and how did you manage?
So Anjali, my mantra and my attitude in life, personally and professionally, always has been to look for the silver lining. You have never heard me talking about my challenges or my rags to riches stories in any interview of mine, because I think we all have our stories. We've all come from somewhere, made something out of our lives, out of our careers, and we are here. So to talk about sob stories and challenges seems so mundane to me. What I'd like to say is that for me, the lockdown was a period of great creative, what should I say, exploration. I explored a lot of things because my mind was at rest. I didn't let the lockdown affect me mentally or physically. I was working out every day. I have a small little makeshift gym in the house. We had to kind of adjust. We had to meander through all these challenges. We had to find our way. And I was talking to a few people yesterday as well, and I said, the challenge was not being able to go out, not to able to meet other people other than an immediate family. There's a positive in that also. I mean, the kind of quality time I spent with my mother, my daughter, my wife. With your wife, of course, you spend a lot of time because you're in the same room. But my daughter's growing up. She has her own school. She has her own submissions and exams going on. But to spend that quality time with your family, I don't think that I'm going to get this time again with any of them. So I look at it very positively. That lockdown, I think, made me a more patient, understanding human being. I've always been known to be very impatient. I don't know. Uh, when people think very fast, I end up thinking faster than the other person, and that kind of sometimes leads to impatience. And that's something I've been trying to conquer for a long time. I think the lockdown helped me with that as well. And moreover, it was a period of exploration personally. So for me, I have nothing to complain. Yes, I feel very, very bad for the people who've been suffering through the pandemic. I maintain that we are privileged. We are the privileged few who had two square meals on the table, a roof over our heads. So I'm sorry, I'm not complaining about anything. I had nothing to cope with, other than my wife's tantrum.
That complaint is forever, by the way. Also,
That's, that doesn't get altered by the pandemic.
not at all. Right? Anything that you really miss? Because I feel, having scroll down on your Instagram and your pictures, I think you just love to travel. So other than that, or maybe if it's only that, you really miss during the lockdown.
I'm a very sociable, happy-go-lucky kind of a guy. All my friends know that about me. I miss meeting my friends and my extended family. I hardly met my own brother and his family. I hardly saw his children. That was something that we kind of missed out on because we were all very scared, because my mother, who's 77, 78 now, she lives with me, and we didn't want to expose her to any virus, so we stayed put at home. Other than that, I didn't particularly miss anything. Let me tell you one thing about actors. We hardly go out in any case, unless there's an occasion or there's something to do or a social event to attend. We are pretty much in our houses. Yes, I miss traveling, but the one thing I did miss, and I hope this doesn't sound shallow, is my riding. I love motorcycles. I am a motorcycle freak, and that's the one thing I missed because I was not stepping out at all. For I think 4 months, I didn't get on the saddle. But I'm sure that these small things, you tend to miss at every step in life. Maybe the pandemic made me appreciate these small things a lot more.
Overall, as an actor, you have been working, as you said. So, as an actor, what do you think that how this whole scenario has made an impact when you sit now and think about it, about work, about shooting, about everything?
The first impact which has happened is that we've learned how to shoot with smaller crews. I have always wondered why in India our television and our film and our web units are so huge. You know, um, there are about 150, 160 people all trying to do almost the same jobs. And I have seen shoots abroad, and there's very, very few minimal people who are doing their job very efficiently. So as to wonder why do we have five people in every department doing one single job. What I've learned is, what I think most of us have learned is that we can do with skeletal units, smaller units, efficient units. Everybody started working a lot more efficiently. If you realize, we're making films from home, we're making ad films from home. There's so much content which we're creating sitting in our houses. So that's the one impact, according to me, happened, uh, which should have happened in any case. Secondly, the long term impact, I don't really see anything. I think that this is a pandemic. I think that this new normal that people are talking about is going to disappear the moment the vaccine is out and people are safe. After all, it's a flu. It's a viral. It's going to go away. It's not going to be with us. So whatever we've learned is probably going to hold us in good stead as we move forward. But this new normal is not going to last. And I mean it positively. There is nothing that I'm going to hold on to except the fact that I can do so much of work without anybody. I can do a lot of content creation on my own. This is one thing which I learned personally. But moving forward, I think things are going to come back to normal. You see that on the roads, things have already come back to what they think are normal. Is normal. I just went down for a walk right now after my lunch, and I saw so many people walking around, sitting around without any masks. And I went to a couple of them. I said, just if not for your safety, at least for the safety of people you have back home, wear a mask and keep some distance. And they were very shy. I mean, shameful, but they're doing it. That's one part of it. But I think moving forward, the film industry is not going to take anything in the bigger picture away from this pandemic, other than maybe be a little more cleaner and sanitized moving forward. Because you've heard of how our sets are, especially television sets. They're abysmal. The level of sanitation and cleanliness is really unhealthy. So I think that is one. I hope that there is one impact we take with us moving forward.
I think it is a smart choice of scripts and films and roles. How do you do it and how do you choose now? Like when it is television, you have a certain perception about scripts, or when there is a film, you have a certain, decision making thing or mantra with you that you keep in mind when you are choosing your projects. How is it?
That's a really, really good question. From the beginning of my career, right from Swabhiman, I've been offered a lot of work on all mediums, and I've picked and chosen stuff which excite me. Swabhiman was like a shot out of the blue. I had no clue what I was doing. I became a star overnight, but I didn't know my craft really well. And I don't mean this in any humility. I really didn't know what my craft was. I've worked with a lot of good actors on the way, right from the beginning, like Manoj, Ashish Vidyarthi, Ashutosh Rana. There's a lot of them. The list is endless. I think that kind of helped me become a better actor. And for tips, let's put it this way, I choose the best from what is offered to me. I'm an outsider, as you know, and I don't get offered the best. I get offered what I get offered. My only yardstick of picking for a web or television is that I should be a important cog in the wheel. I have never thought of screen time. Initially, I used to think of screen time, but nowadays, if you see my last 10, 15 years of work, either on television or film, I've never said, okay, I want to be the hero or I want to be this. I don't mind playing the protagonist. I don't mind playing the antagonist as long as my character drives the film forward or drives the show forward. I can give you two very recent examples. In Kabul, I was playing the main villain. It was not a starring role, it was a supporting role, but people loved what I did. So my craft has improved. My screen time has not, unfortunately. Then in Sanjeevni, I played Vardhan, who was not again the lead man of the show, but it was such an important character that without Vardhan, there was no Sanjeevni. So yeah, that's always been from the beginning of my career. I do not want to play a character which is just there in the film or this thing. And web, I've reserved myself to doing lead roles. जब तक lead roles मिलते हैं तब तक lead roles करूँगा. और important ये होता है कि आप जो भी किरदार कर रहे हैं, that has to be important to the story. That's all. There's no other yardstick.
One more thing, I'm reminded of Kabil. Your role in Kabil was very impactful, and as a baddie, you really fit the bill quite well. And even in Shootout at Lokhandwala, not I wouldn't call a bad, but then with gray shade. Don't you think that you should look at more of negative roles perhaps if it has got you accolades and appreciation?
You know, so I don't know whether you know, but I refused Kabul first when it was offered to me. And to refuse my friend and brother Sanjay Gupta was a huge decision. I didn't sleep all night, and in the early morning I messaged him. I didn't even call him. I said, "Listen, I am just not convinced about this, and I don't think I'll be able to do it. Not that I didn't want to do it. I will not be able to do it. It was a rapist. It was a black character, and I'd never played something like that." And quite accidentally, I met my best friend Sanjay Suri, salon, haircutting salon. We the same barber, and he was sitting there and generally exchanging notes. Ke, kya ho raha hai, kya nahi ho raha hai? And I said, "यार मेरे को काबिल offer की थी और मैंने मना कर दिया." He pushed his barber aside. I said, "तूने क्या किया?" I said, "मैंने मना कर दिया." And then he used some Hindi bad language which I can't repeat. He said, "तो तू actor क्यों बना?" If you don't want to push the envelope and try new things, why did you become an actor? You're so safe and comfortable in your comfort zone that you don't want to try anything different. He made me call Sanjay Gupta right from there. He made me accept the film. And I think the credit for Kabul should go to Sanjay Suri. And then when I shot the film, I saw the reactions on the release. I said, "Oh, wow, I can do this too." So I'm open to, like I said, I'm open to playing the antagonist as well. But I guess, people offer me different kinds of roles everywhere. Sanjeevni was a very dark role. And people love that too. So I sometimes get confused that when I play the baddie, they love me so much. So what's going on? So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing all sorts of roles. Mumbai Saga sees me in a very, very different role, something I've not done. I'm very, very quiet in the film, and I want you guys to see if that is impactful or not. And moving forward, I am doing another very, very good show for Alt Balaji. Again, I play the antagonist, and again, it's a very soft, cool antagonist. I think that people will like it too.
You know what, Rohit? Whether it is a good guy or a bad guy, I'm sure you will be giving your best shot, and people are going to love you nevertheless. So, wish you all the best, and thank you for talking to midday.com.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you. Be safe. Be healthy.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.